Shalom, my brothers and sisters. The children of Israel are a dark-skinned people according to their history. Their history. That's what we call the scriptures, okay? And Egyptians are also a dark-skinned people according to their history. Yes, that is right. The children of Israel are a brown-skinned people. Yeah, that's right. The children of Israel are black people, okay? Yo, guess what? David was a dark-skinned man. The word ruddy is to describe a dark-skinned person, a person of color. You see what I'm saying? This word is used to describe someone of color, of a brown or reddish color look, a dark-skinned person. Okay? And we see this word used for David, King David himself. 1 Samuel, chapter 16. We'll start with verse 11. And here's what it says. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And Yahweh said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. You see what it says? It says ruddy. It calls David a ruddy. And with a beautiful countenance. Now, the word ruddy, I've told you before, is a person of color. This is why, depending on what Bible you're reading from, it tells you that David was a dark skin, that he was dark. He was a beautiful dark person. You see what I'm saying? Let's talk about another one. Let's talk about David's daughter-in-law. This is about David's daughter-in-law, Samuel's wife, okay? Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. Now here's what it says. I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards. But mine own vineyard have I not kept. Now let's start with verse 5. David's daughter-in-law, which is Solomon's wife, tells you that I am black, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you guys straight up, when it says, but commonly is a word that's meaning beautiful. The word but is not supposed to be there. In the original Hebrew Bible, it says and. The original Bible says, I am black and beautiful. I am black and commonly, okay? But it's not a good thing. That is a King James Bible error, okay? It is supposed to be, I am black and beautiful. Saying I am black but beautiful, that's garbage. You understand what I'm saying? That is 100% foolishness. And that is not the original translation. Because if you say I am black but beautiful, that means that black is not beautiful, but somehow this person is beautiful. black and beautiful, it is two beautiful things together. This is why the woman that's in this verse is praising herself and praising her people, because being black and beautiful are two great things, and she has both of them. I highly recommend you guys learn the original Hebrew Bible so you can not be twisted by these bad translations bringing black people down, because being black is a beautiful thing. Now, see what it says. Ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar. Now, what is Kedar? Kedar is a word describing dark skin. Okay? Now, there was a tribe a long time ago, and they're mentioned sometimes within the Bible. And they were a tribe called Kedar, and they lived in black furry tents. Okay? This is why she's comparing the daughters of Jerusalem to the tents of Kedar, because they are a black people who lived in black furry tents. And she's comparing the daughters of Israel to the description of them. It was beautiful black tents that they lived in. Black people in black tents. And she's comparing the daughters of Jerusalem, which is the daughters of Israel, to them. In a beautiful description. A beautiful appearance description. You see what I'm saying? And make sure you guys look up this stuff yourself so you guys can see and understand, as the curtains of Solomon, which I assume to also be black, because she's telling you that I am black and beautiful, and the daughters of Jerusalem as the tents of Kedar and as the curtains of Solomon. Verse 6. Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun has looked upon me. Now you see, she's saying, look not upon me because I am black, because she's telling you that I'm more than just being black. Because the children of Israel, they saw being dark-skinned as a beautiful thing. But really, I think truly deep down inside, everyone loves a dark skin. That's why people go to tan, because they want to get darker. And the land of Israel, they saw being dark as a good thing. She's telling you that I am more than just a black woman. Look not upon me because I am black, and because the sun hath looked upon me. The sun making her even darker. A brown-skinned woman getting even darker. She looking even more beautiful. See what I'm saying? So don't forget that, because this is in the scripture. But pastors, they don't talk about this stuff. They don't want you to know. See that? Did you hear that? Now guess what? Moses was also a dark-skinned man. Okay? Now let's make sense out of the story that's in Exodus. Alright? When Moses put his hand in his bosom and it turned white. Now let's read before we talk about it, okay? And Yahweh said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. Now, Let's make some sense out of this. Moses was a dark skin, he was a black man, okay? This is why this is a big deal. His hand looked leprous as snow. This is not to be a racist term against a white person, but this is their description on a white person. Because the children of Israel, they didn't live around white people like that. It was our description of a light-skinned person. Just as we describe us brown-skinned people as being black. Because majority of us is not actually the color black. There are some people in Africa that's really close to that shade. But majority of us aren't. Now, there are some people here up in America with that dark shade. But majority of us are brown-skinned people. But we call ourselves black. Just as you see, they're calling leprosy as snow. Because he's described, that's how they would describe a white person. Not to be racist, but this is their description of it. Because they use things as an example so you can understand what something looks like. Okay? Because is a black man whose hand, Yahweh, who was the creator of heaven and earth, he turned his hand white. So it was a black man with the white hand. And when he put his hand back in his bosom, it became his other flesh. Because Moses is as black as all the other guys I was talking about. Note something else. The children of Israel were not to mix with other races, but Moses married an Ethiopian who was black. If Moses was white, marrying a black woman, their child will look different from the others. But him being black, marrying a black woman keeps it still similar, because Ethiopians still look similar to us. Even though they're Ham and the children of Israel are Shem. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Miriam also, at a time, became leprosy. White as snow. And we're going to talk about it here. Numbers, chapter 12, verse 9. And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous, because she is a black woman. And when she got leprosy, she looked white as snow. That is their description of them, okay? Because remember, majority of us are a brown-skinned people, but we call ourselves black. White as snow is our description of a white person. Okay? Miriam is a black woman who turned into the shade of a white woman. You see what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Because the true children of Israel today are still the black people. We are still the dark-skinned race. But pastors do not want to teach you this. They don't want to show this. They don't want to talk about this. Because this is some real stuff. And this can change all of our lives for the better. The Egyptians were also a black people. Okay? And in their history, you can see that. But before we look in some of their history stuff, their images and what they do, let's read in our history. the children of Israel history first. In Genesis chapter 10, verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were born after the flood. And unto them were sons born after the flood. Verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Kesh, Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. Now who was Kesh? Kesh is the father of the Ethiopians. Alright? Kesh is the father of the Ethiopians. And his brother, Mizraim. Now who was Mizraim? He, who was Kesh's brother, is the father of the Egyptians. Okay? Ethiopia and Egyptians are brothers. They are the sons of Ham and they are brothers. Okay? You see what I'm saying? And when you look at these pictures. These are old images of statues formed of black men. Okay? That is who these statues represent. That is what these statues represent. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Now, if you in Egypt today, you will notice that there are statues with broken noses. Now, you see, black people, we have a distinguished nose that is somehow unique. Okay? And the statues they build have the same uniqueness because they try to do the best of copying the image of us as they could. But those statues today don't have those noses because it's broken off. Now they say that Christians and Muslims broke off these noses off the statues because it was idolatry and things like that. Graven images. But if that were true, wouldn't it make more sense to destroy the entire statues and not break off just the noses? Huh? You see what I'm saying? Am I making sense here or what? Now you see, the children of Israel and Egyptians are both black nations. They are black people. And this is why Moses and Joseph are mistaken as Egyptians. Because not only are we shaded and look similar to them, but when we looking as similar as they are, dressed like them too, we look 100% like the Egyptian. Okay? Now we're going to read in Exodus chapter 2, verse 16. Now here's what it says. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the draughts to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them, and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, How is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. They mistake Moses for an Egyptian man, because not only do we look similar to them, but I will assume at this moment he could have possibly been dressed like them too. But whether he was dressed or not, he still looks similar. Because you gotta understand, a Hebrew living in an Egyptian land doesn't mean you're gonna be mistaken as an Egyptian. Because if people see a black man, they're not going to say an American man. They're most likely going to describe him so someone can get the clearer picture. They will probably say a black man or African American. You see what I'm saying? Now let's read about Joseph. When Joseph was in Egypt, again, looking like similar to Egyptians because they're both black people. But he is dressing like an Egyptian, so they won't be able to tell the difference. Genesis chapter 42, verse 7. And here's what it says. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spoke roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. You see that? They knew not him, because he, looking similar to the Egyptians, all of them looking similar, he most likely dressed as the Egyptians. This is why they couldn't identify who he was, because he spoke the Egyptian language and he dressed as the Egyptians. He dressed as the pharaohs. You see what I'm saying? Because if he dressed like the Hebrews, and the Hebrews usually have their beards grown out, and their hairs in locks. The Egyptians, they usually cut their hair, clean face, which is why it was probably hard for them to know it was him. You see what I'm saying? This is our history, true history. The Bible is history of the black man, okay? Now, why don't you know this? You letting your Christian pastors teach you what's up. The Bible is a black man's book. But you're letting the white man teach you how to read your own book. I'm trying to teach y'all. You gotta study the Bible. Read for yourself. Don't wait for other people to do it for you. Okay? Shalom.